I achieved every goal I set for my 20s. I built a 10 out of 10 aesthetic body, I made millions of dollars, and I retired my family. I'm genuinely very happy and fulfilled in life. So in this video, I'm gonna give you the no BS advice on becoming a top 1% man in your 20s. We're gonna cover the 3 most interesting parts of life as a young man: women, brotherhood, and money. If you don't know me already, my name is Hamza, and I've helped millions of guys to get onto self-improvement and change their lives. So let's begin with the first topic, which is women. The quality of woman who's into you is a pretty fantastic indicator of the level of man that you are. I think most guys would understand this, right? If we are to use the autistic rating scale, 5 out of 10, we can imagine that we'll be able to attract girls who are usually about like a 4 out of 10. Therefore, you can imagine that when you become a 8 out of 10, you'll be able to attract girls who are a 7 out of 10. Most guys kind of inherently understand that, and most guys kind of know that there can be kind of like a lucky instance where you could be a 5 and you might end up getting like a 7 who doesn't know her worth. So, okay, sweet. There's always a black swan event, but most guys know, in general, whatever level of man you are, like out of 10 in not just looks, but in money and confidence and personality and social life and all the different attractive metrics of a guy, if we averaged it all together, whatever it would get to will correlate to the level of woman you can attract. Basically, the better you are as a man, the better girl you can attract. Most guys who don't have this weird defeatist mindset, they actually believe this because it's absolutely true. And so the brutal truth is that basically no girls are into you right now. You kind of delude yourself too. Most young men are a bit delusional, and they like to believe that like they've got so many girls who are into them. But when you are literally like a 3 or a 4 or a 5 right now, I know you don't think so. You think you're probably more like a 7 or an 8 or whatever. Of your potential, you're probably like a 3. Don't get delusional. Like loads of young guys that when they're in high school and college, they like to think like, oh yeah, all the girls want me. I used to think that as well. When I look back, it's like, bro, fucking relax, you fucking prey eyes, brown, relax, bro. Like you're like, you've got some potential, sure, but don't you fucking like get randomly delusional. Like I have like a free community. And there was like some kid who wrote a post that made me cringe, and he was like, oh yeah, like, 7 girls in my class want me, like they've got a crush on me. And when I read that, you know, he's in high school or something, and when I read that, I cringed because I was like, that's the type of shit that I used to think. Like if a girl looked at me once and she smiled, I'd be thinking like, yeah, she's got a crush on me, which isn't bad. You know, you should have a bit of that sort of like ego kind of thing of like, yeah, you feel good about yourself. But the truth is, if you're not going to be delusional, you are down here. And that means that basically no girls are into you right now. You've got to be realistic and just accept that. That doesn't mean that you need to get sad about this. That means that you need to get excited for the growth to come. Because the thing I'm about to tell you is going to make you feel really positive. You expect life to keep getting better, don't you? You've discovered self-improvement. You go to the gym. You know that every year your physique's going to be better. Every year you're going to become more intelligent. You're going to have read more books. You'll be better in your career or your studies or your business. Every year things are going to get better and better and better, right? And you also agree that when things get better, you can attract a better girl alongside it, right? So this is going to sound like an insult, but wouldn't you agree that you are the worst version of you that you'll ever be? You are the most ugly, undisciplined, poorest version of you that you will ever be, right? Barring like some extreme accident or something, but like just in a normal life, this is the worst version of you that you'll ever be, because next year you'll be more jacked, confident, whatever, and the year after and the year after, right? So if this is the lowest you will ever be, doesn't that give you some level of satisfaction to be like, you know what, right now I don't really attract girls or any kind of girl I'd actually want to be with. But that's fine, because every year from now, things are going to get better. But here's also the brutal part. It means that any girl that you can attract right now is also most likely going to be the worst quality girl that you'll be able to attract. Here is a brutal truth that people don't like to talk about, and it makes people uncomfortable because guys like us, we're kind of different. Every 6 months, you will unlock a new tier of woman. Guys who have been on self-improvement for a while are nodding their heads being like, yep, 100%. And everyone else who's a bit of a fucking Jeffrey normie, they look at that like, oh, that sounds really rude or something, but it's the truth. Every 6 months that you commit yourself to self-improvement like I've got you on, your looks maxing, you're going to the gym, building an aesthetic physique, you're confident, you're learning how to speak to girls, you're learning how to speak to guys, becoming more respectful, you're developing your character, your discipline, humility, all these kinds of things. You're meditating, journaling, getting to know yourself more, reading these intellectual books. Every 6 months, you will be like almost like a new tier of yourself, like Hamza 2.0, Hamza 3.0. When that happens, you will notice that the quality of the girl who's now into you is better than it was just 6 months ago. So the question becomes like, should you be interested and open to girls right now when these are the worst girls that you'll ever attract? Because 6 months from now, you'll have a better tier of woman who's into you. This is like some deep thinking you've got to do, to think like, damn, like, when do you want to cash out? When do you want to get into the committed relationship? Now, of course, look, don't take this to the logical extreme, which is, okay, well, I'm going to be 90 years old still waiting for the the peak or something. Of course not. But it's like, okay, doesn't it, like, to not get super extreme, does it make sense for you to be really looking for a girlfriend and girls to date right now when you're maybe 16 or 18 years old? When if you're 25, 26, 27, you'll be so much more attractive, and the girls you'll attract will be so much better. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, basically any girl who's shown you interest right now, if you're being honest, is a bit of a fucking loser. Chances are, if you're like 18 years old watching this, any girl who's shown you interest right now is genuinely a loser who doesn't even exercise, doesn't eat clean. She's like, that's like subhuman level where like like a human being doesn't fucking exercise or value sunlight or those kinds of things. That's like the average person who's watching this. I know for a fact the girls that you think are into you and they're kind of nice or whatever, they're just consumers. They've got zero goals, zero ambitions. It's not even that, like, they're feminine, so they don't have goal-minded. They're not even that feminine. They're not even like, they're not going to be good mothers. You can cope and say, oh, she'd be a good mother, but she fucking wouldn't. She hasn't read any fucking books on like motherhood, or she hasn't like, she's not like a fucking nanny and she's like went into that career or anything. Most girls that you're into right now, or the girls that could be into you right now, or if they were guys, they'd be a fucking loser. Like, you would not hang out with them. If they were a guy, they couldn't do a single pull-up. They don't go to the gym. They don't exercise. They don't eat clean. They just lie around scrolling on fucking TikTok. You would think that guy was a fucking loser. But we as guys, we give women a bit more like sort of leniency with self-improvement, whatever. But we shouldn't. Because if you want to get into a good relationship where you can basically show your girl off and talk about her loudly, you want her to be a fucking superstar. You want her to be like your power half, right? Whether you want like a super feminine girl and she's like a housewife, or you want a girl who's like super ambitious. Either way, you would want a girl who's high tier, like a top performer in the sort of area that she's focused on. You wouldn't want a girl who just fucking scrolls on TikTok, but they're the girls that you can attract right now. Because why? Because you are the worst version of you right now. So to grasp all this, you need to understand the SMV graph, the sexual market value graph. Once you understand this, and I'll get my editor to just like find a picture from Google, sexual market value graph. Once you understand this, I swear to God, it's like a red pill moment where you're like, oh shit, like, so this is how dating works. Basically, the level of woman you can attract comes down to what your SMV is. That it just means your sexual market value. Basically, like, out of 10, how attractive are you to girls? Not just your appearance, but everything that a girl could find attractive. Like, even, I don't know, your voice, where you live, your personality, or your Instagram, like anything a girl could be attracted to, your kindness, whatever. Imagine we all collected it out of 10. That would be your SMV, how much value you have to the opposite sex. This is how it works. For men, our value is built. Some guys have a pretty high level of, let's say, appearance. They just happen to be genetically beautiful. Or, for example, they had the early positive feedback where they just happen to be really confident and charismatic when they're young. Some guys have had, like, the sort of character selection screen in a game, and some guys, like some characters in a video game, start off with more points or something. Yeah, sure, some guys have that. Some guys start with a family that's rich. But in general, most guys, when they're 18 years old, are pretty fucking unattractive little losers, and those same guys are more attractive when they're 25 if they do the right things, like going to the gym, being confident, learning these kinds of things, taking career seriously, whatever. Our SMV is at its lowest point at 18 years old. Remember, you agreed with this point, right? Like our value is built through things like work and discipline, going to the gym, confidence, life experience, even like mistakes that we've made. That actually makes a man more attractive because now he's developed in life. He's got this mental maturity, whatever. When you're 18 years old, you have very minimal levels of all of those things. You might be the guy who's genetically kind of beautiful. He's got a pretty little face, so he's kind of high in that one area. But he's still like a little fucking boy, and that's kind of unattractive. Or he's still like broke, that's unattractive, whatever. So on average, for guys, our SMV, like you can see in the graph, I think there'll be like the blue color in the graph. Our SMV is at the lowest point when we're 18 because we are literally still kind of like boys. And we slowly build our value, like what's attractive to women. Over the next 10 years, we slowly go up and up and up. Most men hit their stride if they do the right things. Not like, the average guy who drinks beers and he doesn't go to the gym. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the potential. Most guys who go to the gym, who take their career seriously, who sleep well, who don't drink much, they hit their stride in their late 20s. That's usually when they start becoming attractive to girls for the first time. And it's in their 30s that they're usually as attractive as they can be, where they're financially quite secure, they're quite mature guys. They've got this extra level of like stillness compared to the little geeky teenagers who are kind of cringe. That's how it is for most guys. For someone like me who's even more of a top performer, mine was a bit earlier in the sense of like at 22, 23 years old, I learned these things. I became a millionaire at like age 26. I had been weightlifting, like building the physique from age 17. So by the time I was like 25, 26, I already had like a top 1% physique. So my peak has started early, whether that means that I'm gonna like fucking up and then down, or I'm gonna up and then stay longer, whatever. Of course, there's gonna be a range and there's gonna be differences. Some guys will hit their peak earlier, some guys will hit it later, whatever. But if you do the right things from 18 years old, your life will basically just keep going up and up and up. You'll be more attractive to girls over and over and over again. It's just that simple. For women, kind of brutal. This is stuff that people don't want to talk about, but it's the truth. For women, they are at their most attractive in those first few years when they are adults, 18 to 22, 23, 24 years old. Because, think about it, most men are way more attracted to women's beauty and youth and purity. A woman with life experience isn't particularly attractive to a man. Like if a girl tells you like she's traveled around the world, most guys who aren't like fucking little liberal cucks will get kind of turned off by that, and sometimes you don't know why. The reason is men aren't attracted. Men are kind of unattractive to a woman with life experience because we actually want her to experience life with us. Most guys have that kind of value. If a girl tells you like she's traveled the world before she's met you, most guys, if you are looking to date seriously, that's not attractive. The other thing is kind of true. Women are attracted to men with experience. That is a 100% fact. You know how a lot of girls will say like, oh, I just want a guy who's like never had a girlfriend, he's a virgin like me. What she wants is that movie star type of guy who happens to be a virgin, but he doesn't act like it. Girls want a guy who acts like he's got experience, but maybe he doesn't have experience. Like, he gets to say like, oh yeah, I've only ever had one girlfriend, or I've had no girlfriends before. That to a girl is still kind of cute, but she wants him to act like he's had experience. Girls aren't attracted to guys who haven't had experience. Don't fucking listen to their lies, right? Girls like guys who literally have committed crimes before. Girls like guys who've gotten into accidents, who have traveled and gotten into trouble before. Girls love a guy who's got history, who's got literal physical and metaphorical scars. If you've ever had a girl touching your like bare chest and she's like, where's this scar from? Go on, tell me. You'll realize just how much girls love that shit. For guys, not so much. If you see a girl with a scar, it's like, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but you don't like love her more because you saw it. Girls will literally lust for you when you have a metaphorical and physical scar, because they are attracted to a man who's been through life. He's been through the trenches. Not the same with men's attraction into women. So on that graph, you can see on the sort of pink color, a woman's value starts very high. Basically, by the time that she can kind of date adults and, get married and stuff, she's already super attractive. She's 18 years old, and it will be very high up until she's about 22, 23, 24. Women's peak starts early because what men are generally attracted in women is more sort of genetic kind of like early things of like how they look and whether the fact they're young or not. That's brutal. And people don't want to talk about this because it's controversial, because basically what we're saying is a woman's achievements and her hard work in her career isn't really like that important to most men. And the thing is, like, most guys would actually admit like, yeah, it's kind of not. You'd rather want the 21-year-old feminine girl who's a virgin, who has like this religious father and she's never even traveled out of her hometown, but she'd be the perfect wife. You'd rather have her than the 31-year-old divorced single mother, but who runs her own business, or she's like a high-level career or something. Most guys would see the second girl and maybe be interested in her if maybe we're not going to be offensive, but they're like the first woman almost every man in the world would actually choose. It's just the brutal fact. Men are not attracted to life experience. Men are attracted to more youthful women. It's just how the world works. And we can all get like upset about this and we can say it's controversial, but this is just how attraction works. So for women, their SMV is at their highest when ours is at our lowest. So this puts us in a predicament where when you are full of fucking testosterone, you're like in puberty, you're 18 years old, you're like young man, you really want to fuck, you really want a girlfriend. You're kind of unattractive. You have no life experience, which women are attracted to. You don't have your own place. You probably don't even have your own car or a nice one. And also, none of the materialistic stuff. You're just not really that mature yet. You haven't had 3 breakups before. You haven't like traveled the world. You haven't ever had like a run-in with the police that fortified your mind. You've never had to fire someone. Have you fired someone before? Have you been an employer? For most 18-year-olds, no. Maybe you've had like some shitty little part-time job or whatever, but when you like have life experience as a guy, it turns you into this still mature man that is so attractive. So for us, it's later. Now here's the thing. When we're 18, when we're 20, we're at the lowest. When a girl is 18 or 20, she's at the highest. When you are 18 and 20 years old, 22 years old, and you want to speak to the girl like in your university class or the girl, who's there, who's 21 years old, like your age, she's not going to find you attractive. You know why? Because she's dating a 27-year-old. She's dating a 27-year-old who's already established. Because a 21-year-old girl dating a guy who's 26 or 27 or 28, it's like, that's not a crazy age range. It's not inappropriate. That's okay. But when you're 21 and you want to date the girl who's 21, or let's say when you're 18 and you want to date the 18-year-old, she's dating a guy who's 24. That's the problem. So women will date upwards, and it's always been kind of normal. Women will often date guys who are slightly older than them. That just seems to be the case with like human relationships. So this puts you in a weird predicament where when you're young and you want to get the girl who's in your class, or you want to get the girl who's your age, she wants the guy who's 4 or 5 years older. Imagine another 5 years, like imagine for you, right? Whatever age you are right now, plus 5 onto that. Imagine another 5 years of you going to the gym and building the body. Imagine how fucking sick your physique would look. Imagine another 5 years of life experiences, of arguments that you've had with your parents, of maybe heartbreak or this, all these random things that you'll go through, the countries you'll travel, the flight that you were supposed to get but that you missed, and then you had to like deal with the experience of missing a flight and what you have to do, and all this random shit that you'll have to learn in your life for 5 years straight. Because you not imagine that in 5 years time, let's say when you'll be 21, or sorry, you'll be like 26 years old in 5 years time. Let's say you're 21 right now. When there's a 21-year-old girl and there's 21-year-old guys who want her, but you're 26 years old, it's going to be easy mode for you to get that girl when all of the guys in her college class are fucking little fucking little dweeby boys who are still a bit cringe, and they're like, they're scared of going on phone calls because it's too exhilarating to call the doctor or something like that. Do you see the weird split here where to attract women, it's this kind of fucked situation where the woman your age, when you're young, she's beautiful and attractive and youthful to basically every guy. But you, at your age right now, let's say you're 16 or 18 or 21 years old, you're at the lowest level you'll possibly ever be. Like, barring you getting addicted to fucking weed or heroin or alcohol or something in the future, and that kind of like, makes your life do a nosedive. Every year of your life's gonna go up. So this is like the weird, controversial thing you have to accept. I want you to take one last look at that SMV graph. I'll tell my editor to put it up. Where are you right now? Which age? This graph is very accurate. There'll definitely be a bit of a difference. I hit my peak, or maybe not even my peak, but I hit like at my stride. Like my sort of graph would have sharply rose up way earlier than most guys, because I just happened to get into the kind of business that could make me kind of like viral and make millions of dollars, and I happened to find like self-improvement early, and I took it seriously, and I have the personality type to just kind of obsess over things. And look, there's going to be like a girl who's 29 years old and she's actually higher SMV than she was when she was 22. Of course, there's going to be some leniency, there's going to be some ranges. You get my point with this. We're not saying that this is exactly every age is perfectly set, but as an average, as a general rule, this is how attraction works. We as men are more attractive in our late 20s and 30s if we are on self-improvement, if we are going to the gym, eating clean, not drinking much alcohol and stuff. All of that to say, there's hope. Every year from now, you will be more attractive. And the same beautiful girls that you're into right now who are 21, 22 years old, I promise you, they are dating guys who are 25, 28, even 31 years old. So you've got years to build yourself up. That shouldn't mean that, you know, you're lazy and whatever, because you're only going to get that sort of SMV peak if you do the right things like self-improvement, watching these videos, educating yourself. If you keep doing that, you will become more attractive to girls every 6 to 12 months from now. This is the kind of information that you've gotten from me that has changed your life trajectory so much. Like, imagine if you never heard this kind of advice and just like every guy out there, you were just kind of clueless with how it comes about dating, but you're learning directly from someone who understands this well. And I can give you this weird specific knowledge that even like ChatGPT or whatever is never going to tell you. Your parents are never going to tell you this specific shit. And you've learned this from me. And there's so much more of this kind of like unfiltered, kind of controversial, kind of detailed young men self-improvement advice inside of Library of Adonis, where we've got a ton of like these kind of long, detailed, unedited, you know, like this mature style of content where you can learn a lot. All of these programs, it's like a fucking amazing deal that I've made for guys who wanted to invest in their self-improvement. Top link in the description if you want to have a look. Now let's talk about brotherhood, which I think is probably even more important than women, but I wanted to cover that first because it's just more interesting. Most men live weird lives like islands. Most men live like this standalone life where you are just kind of separated from other men. You don't live with them. You don't really interact with them. You know, you message some guys on Discord, whatever. You've got a little cringy group chat and you go to the gym with some guys every now and then. But most men are living like these kind of like lonely, separated lives. And here's the interesting thing. When you fix this, which I'm going to walk you through right now, when you fix this and you get really good brotherhood, you know that SMV graph we just spoke about? You will level up even faster, way faster. You'll get more attractive to girls and you'll also make more money and get better at your work and fitness, and everything will improve in your life the better your brotherhood is. If you're watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I guarantee this is what your life is going to be. You try and socialize with people. You try and go to the gym and speak to them and try and, you know, socialize, try and fist bump someone. You try and like, you know, be polite to someone and maybe invite them to the gym workout, whatever. But if you're honest, it's like, there's no one who is kind of serious in life. There's probably no one in your life that you can genuinely really relate to. You might have some friends who are kind of cool, whatever, but if you're actually honest, they're not serious about this kind of growth of life. The amount of men who are actually trying in life is so pathetically small, it is insane. And here's the weird thing. If you go to the gym and you fist bump the guy and you get to know him, you'd be thinking, oh, that's a guy who goes to the gym. He's on self-improvement. Nope. Go and find out what he does with the rest of his time. Go and find out his fucking little blue pill, bitchy, like feminine kind of energy when it comes to dating or whatever. And he randomly scrolls for hours and he doesn't think it's a bad thing and he's got no ambition and whatever. What you'll basically find is there's very few guys who are actually like on self-improvement. You know, there's guys who are in the army. There's guys who go to the gym. There's guys who, I don't know, they do one productive thing, like maybe they make money. But the rest of their life is in shambles. What you'll find is you'll probably never find someone who's actually on genuine self-improvement, where they're not just going to the gym, but they're also eating clean and they're avoiding seed oils and they're sleeping at the same time every night and they're avoiding blue light before bedtime and they're ambitious and they want to make money and they're trying different businesses. You're never going to meet anyone like that in person, at least right now in your hometown. Which means that your life right now, just like most guys, is kind of sad. You wake up, maybe you go to school or work, you go to the gym, and then you just kind of do nothing. You just kind of consume content and then pretend you're friends with me. I'm one of your best friends and I don't even know you exist. Like, think about that. It's kind of sad. Like, no influencer will tell you the truth. Most influencers are fucking weirdos, psychopath manipulators. Most influencers you watch, where they start the video, they're like, hey, you know, me and you are friends. Hey, friends, you know, me and you are like really good friends. I'll look you in the fucking eyes and tell you, bro, I'm not fucking friends with you. I'm staring at my fucking camera right now. What the fuck? What the fuck is this, right? I'm a fucking influencer who's making these videos. And yeah, sure, it helps you. And if we meet in person, we'll be cool and everything. Okay, awesome. But don't fall for this bullshit that like this social media shit is like your friends. The amount of influencers who optimize their content for this gay parasocial relationship where they're there, like, you know, speaking to you as if you're like real friends, but they're not. Like, they're speaking to the fucking camera just like I am, but they won't ever actually tell you the truth because they're trying to manipulate your attention, give you this warm fuzzy feeling so you keep watching them. You've got to understand, like, This consuming content thing is cool if you're actually genuinely getting real big insights. Like, think about it. Your fucking future might have just been changed by the previous session when I was telling you about women and I explained the SMB graph. You probably have just had a paradigm shaking belief. I didn't have to pretend to be a fucking pussy little gay friend of yours, did I? I just gave you pure education in these videos. But I'm telling you, a lot of motherfuckers on YouTube, on TikTok and Instagram, they're not making these educational style videos. They make these ones where they're like, oh, hey, you know, here's a really detailed story of me being a fucking pussy. I'm just like you. I'm a loser too. We're losers. Oh, come here. I really love you guys. They say this, not because they can't give you really good education. So they give you this warm, fuzzy feeling. So you keep watching instead. That's not real brotherhood. Don't you fucking like fall for it. It's not real brotherhood. You need genuine guys who have got similar goals to you that you physically meet in person, or at the very least you actually speak to. Not just that you watch, you speak to. This being said, by the way, like, I still genuinely believe consuming content, learning is actually really good. I've learned a lot from just consuming content on the internet, but I've always optimized the content that I watch for genuine education and not for this gay parasocial relationship with this creator who might hopefully like my comment or some bullshit. Like, that's just fucking cringe, right? So consume content which is purely educational, like these videos, awesome. But other than that, when you finish in the gym and in work, you need to have like the boys around you. So I want to walk you through the process of how to actually get that. The single best thing you could do is none of this like, you know, casual shit where you go to the gym and you try and meet a guy who's not like a fucking retard, but basically every guy is. Even if they're in the gym, he's still drinking. Even if they're in martial arts clubs, honestly, this is the weird thing, bro. Even in the army, I've got like students and friends of mine who are literally in the army. And they're like, yep, no one's actually that disciplined in here. They're all Jeffries. They're all like randomly watching porn and they're all like jacking off and drinking and stuff. Most guys you meet, even in one weird disciplined environment like the gym, they're still going to be fucking Jeffries. So you need real friends who are literally on the path of like self-improvement like you, because I promise it will be the single best thing of your journey when you've got other guys who have the same goal as you and they understand this same kind of culture. And really think about it. Because the point I've just made to you is, it's not enough just meeting a guy who goes to the gym, because the rest of his life is not going to be the same as yours. It's still nice, don't get me wrong, like socialize with everyone, be polite, don't be disrespectful. But you see the big point I'm making here, and you probably agree with me. It's not enough that the guy goes to the gym if he's, for example, a degenerate, or if, for example, he's like going out drinking and he's trying to convince you to do it, or he still vapes or that kind of shit, right? Basically, you need to meet a guy who's on self-improvement as much as you, and this is like the weird specific point I want to make to you. You need to meet guys who literally watch my videos, because think about it, if you watch my videos quite religiously, your values have been kind of brainwashed by me. I have taught you so many specific things, and the person that you will intertwine with so well, like the group of boys you'll mix with so well, are literally guys who also watch my videos. Not just guys who go to the gym, not just guys who might, like, you know, they might meditate, but if they watch my videos, if they are fans of mine like you are, then you will find so much overlap with them. So this is why, like, literally I've made this fucking program. If it's ever affordable for you, you can literally find guys who not only are watching the videos, but they've spent money to get more education, which is like a top 1% thing. You could consider that if you want. If not, you can use like the comments of the videos to try and find guys who watch these videos. You can try and join like these communities and everything to try and find other guys who are on self-improvement, because the big thing is for you to eventually live with each other. If you're watching this, you're probably young, so this sounds crazy. You're thinking, wait, what? That's like, I definitely couldn't do that. Within 1 to 2 years from now, max, you actually could realistically move out from your home. It's not crazy, right? Even if you're like 17 years old, it's not crazy for you to move out when you're 18, 19, whatever, 20. It's not crazy, especially if you're getting more into like business, online, being a top performer. It's not crazy to think 2 years from now, you might be making 3K a month online. Like, that's not crazy at all. 2 years from now to make 3K or 4K or 5K. Remember, I live in Bali. The amount of fucking retards who are here making 10K a month, they're stupider than you. They work less hard than you. And they're on 10K a month in like 1 year of their business. It's not actually crazy hard to make like great money on the internet. That basically means that what could be one of your goals, you know, that you write down on your wall, live with a guy who's as serious on self-improvement as you are within 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now. Imagine that, bro. just talking to a guy who's on self-improvement like this way, like the way you've learned from me, is sick. The amount of jokes that you will have, the funny, like specific, weird, like, you know, the nuanced, specific jokes that you'll have will be so funny, like it'll warm your heart. But also the accountability, the understanding of values and everything is awesome. That's just the conversation if, for example, you hop on a Discord call. But when you live with a guy who's as serious or close enough as you are on self-improvement, that will be like gasoline on the fire that's inside of your heart to improve right now. I give you my absolute word. That would be one of the best decisions you could possibly make when you're young, is to live with another guy who's as ambitious as you are. I recently just had a kickboxing fight here in Bali, and I have people inside of my program where I told them all, like, oh, fly out to come watch me here. So like 30 young men who are fans of mine on self-improvement, they all flew out. And many of them lived together in like the same like guest house or villa or whatever. And they said it was like the best few weeks of their life being here. I even did a meetup where I booked out this entire fucking villa and we hung out in that and everything. And it was just, bro, it's like when you meet in person with people who have the same culture as you, like this. I'm not just saying you make a friend or whatever, because most friends you've had have been fucking like weirdos, little retards, little Jeffreys, whatever. When you meet a guy who literally is like follows my advice, watches my videos, and he's on self-improvement the same way you are, I promise you this is what's gonna happen to you. You'll be laughing so hard at each other's jokes, you'll have tears coming down, which will feel like it's fucking healed, like childhood trauma. I promise you, it's one of the best experiences of life, is getting close to someone who really understands like the values that you have, because of the fact that you watch content like this. You can't mix with most people. It's sadly including your family, basically everyone you've known from high school. Most people in the gym, they're still not about this life, bro. Most people in like the kickboxing gym that I go to, they still go out and drink and vape, and it's no disrespect to them, they're pro athletes, you know, they're harder guys than I am, but it's like they don't share the same values. So that's like the advice I'd give you, is that's the goal that I want you to write down, is live with the boys. You've seen this with Andrew Tate, right? He went viral and he lives with his brother. They're like 30 something. They're like millionaires. They don't have to live together to save money on rent, but they do it because they know that they're actually like, their life is better. It makes more sense for you to live with the boys than it does for you to live alone or with family or with a girl, because those three things I think keep you in this kind of like boy adolescent kind of feeling. It's only when you live with the guys who are serious on self-improvement, who have similar values and goals to you, that you will see your potential. I have a friend named Sam. He was like my first video editor on this channel like years and years ago, and he just did like a 2-week mastermind for his sort of community. He's like a video editor and he teaches editing. So he had, for 2 weeks, he had like 10 guys fly out to Thailand, and they all lived in a villa together, just like editing, video editing next to each other, and, you know, laughing and going to the gym, whatever. And when I saw him, we had a catch up recently, and he said it was the best 2 weeks of his life. That's the power of this, bro. Living with people who share the same values as you is next level. Just talking to them, by the way, is all good. If you find someone on Discord, okay, nice. But when you can organize to live with each other, holy shit, that's next level. That's the goal I want you to write down. There's a feature that I'm going to turn on in this program, by the way, which is like a map where you'll literally be able to see who lives close to you, who lives like in your city, whatever. It's like, it's kind of like private. You can't get doxxed. It won't show your exact address or anything, but it'll basically show the list of members everywhere. So when you join this program, which by the way is a fucking really, really good deal, like if you click on the link, you'll see like, what the fuck, okay, this is actually so cheap for what it is. You get the community as well. And this, by the way, inside of here is probably where your future best friend is right now. Inside of here is probably where, you know, the best man at your wedding, like when you're getting married to the love of your fucking life and there's a guy behind you, he's your best friend. He's probably in here right now. Like, that's what's fucking crazy about this. And the fact that this isn't like a subscription or anything, you literally just buy this, you've got it for life, you've got access to the community and all the courses and new things I add. That's what I would recommend. I know it sounds a bit like fishy that I'm hyping this up and saying, oh yeah, and the solution is to buy my program, but I've made this thing for this specific advice, that one, you get the self-improvement advice that you need in the form of all this education from even other teachers, not just me as well, but also two, you get the community of people who've actually spent money on this, who are serious, and you can actually connect with them, go on calls with them, and eventually, it sounds crazy, but maybe a year from now, consider like traveling with each other or living with each other. And now let's talk about work and money. This might be one of the most important parts of becoming a top 1% man. Aesthetics and your body and girls and that stuff is awesome. But what I found is when you find work that feels purposeful and fulfilling to you, the rest of your life aligns to it. The woman you're interested in aligns to it. The friends you're interested in aligns to it. Work will at some point become the single most important thing in your life, and the rest of your life will be optimized for work. Right now, you might not be seeing that. Right now, for your life, if you're young, it might be kind of like looks maxing and an aesthetic body or whatever. That's like your biggest priority. But I promise you, for basically every single guy, by the time he gets to like his mid-20s, work becomes the priority. And so you should be taking this seriously. When I was in high school and college and university, all I cared about was like being popular and speaking to the girls and looking more handsome and, you know, like speaking to guys and whatever and just having fun. And so in university, I didn't prepare for the real world for like money. Because think about it, when you're in school, money doesn't really matter, does it? If you're in school in the same class as like some other boy and his family's got money or he makes money, doesn't really matter, because the kid who has the best experience in school isn't the one who makes money in some random business, but it's the one who kind of looks pretty and he's kind of social and confident. The moment you get outside of the education system, money fucking matters. And so this hit me hard as fuck. For my entire time in the education system, I never thought about money, never thought about career. I just wanted to like party and look cool and whatever. One day, I go onto my computer to check my results from university because my official results are published. And I knew I was going to fail because I didn't take university seriously. And I was excited because I fail, I'm going to resit the entire year, and I get another year of being like a, you know, like a funny little carefree student, whatever. So I go onto the website and I'm already fantasizing like, okay, I'm going to go book the student accommodation that I want to stay in. Which club should I sign up to, whatever. I click on the results and I passed. I graduated. I didn't think that I would. I graduated, I got the degree, and I swear to God, within the same second, I started to get depressed. You know why? Because I realized I wasn't a carefree student anymore. I was an unemployed man. That's when reality hit me, and I instantly thought, oh shit, like, you're not going to get student loans anymore. You're a young man. It's embarrassing that you don't have money, a car, your own place or anything. You don't even know what work you want to do. Suddenly all that time that I'd spent, like, you know, thinking about my physique and my hairstyle just felt gay as fuck. And I was like, shit, like, I've got to get to work. So I struggled. I genuinely, like, this was the worst period of my life. I suffered for months trying to play catch up, trying to figure out what work I wanted to do. I enlisted, or I was going through the process to enlist into the Royal Air Force to be a physical training instructor. So I literally was going through the process, doing the health checks and everything. And at the same time, I was debating business. Eventually, I decided to go all in onto YouTube, and, you know, it became a success after that. But for those few months, it really hit me that, like, it was kind of foolish that through my entire young years, I never once realized that money was actually important and you should prepare for it. So how do you actually prepare for it? Well, first of all, you need this crucial understanding of how to get rich in your 20s and 30s. Because chances are, if you're being honest, I know it can seem a bit scammy and whatever. And by the way, like this program that I keep trying to sell to you, it's not about money or anything. So I'm not trying to like, oh yeah, buy my course or anything. This is like a self-improvement thing. But I know it seems like a bit unrealistic to think about getting rich in your 20s and 30s. But if you're just being honest, you would of course like to, right? Compared to getting rich when you're 50 years old or 70 years old and now you've got like a million in the bank and you can go take a holiday, but you're tired and you're old. Every one of us would want to get rich earlier in our lives, right? So if you just acknowledge that desire, we should be asking, okay, well, is it possible? How is it possible? And it's possible if you choose a vehicle on the fast lane. So understand this. There are two lanes to wealth. There's the fast lane and the slow lane. Most people, without realizing, sadly go onto the slow lane. That is where you probably go to university, you get a job that's like 25, 30K a year, you be a good boy, and you might get a couple promotions, and then you just keep staying in this job and you try and save money. You don't buy coffee, don't waste your money. Save as much money as possible, put it into some safe investing like S&P 500 index funds, whatever, stocks and whatever. And then if you work hard and you scrimp and save and don't spend money, within 20 to 30 years, you probably have enough to retire. Nice. Wow. You can retire at 55 years old instead of 65. Nice. Whoa. Nice, man. 55 years old, now you're free. if you've got any respect for yourself, you're going to think, okay, that should be what? A worst case scenario. That should not be the plan A, right? Plan A should be to get rich in our 20s and 30s, and that is the fast lane. That will come from only 3 different vehicles: business, being an artist, and being an athlete. They're the 3 vehicles that can get you rich in your 20s and 30s. Now, here's the weird thing. The artists and the athletes, most of them are fucking broke. There's only a very small percentage of the artists and athletes that are rich. And do you know what percentage of them, what's unique about them? They're actually businessmen. The artists and the athlete, by artists I mean like singer, for example. The artists and the athletes that actually genuinely get rich and stay rich are more businessmen than they are actually the artists and the athletes. So for example, the athlete like Cristiano Ronaldo, Conor McGregor, they're actually more like personal brand influencers, and they make more money from their brands, like their businesses, than they do that they actually got paid for their sport. So we can kind of condense this down. The fast lane is business. We're not including anything haram here, like fucking gambling or whatever, that type of stuff, because that's just luck. We're not going to include that. It's basically business. You probably have heard this before, and it just seems a bit shady, doesn't it? And I totally get it. When I was like 21, 22 years old, I graduated. I ended up getting a job in a homeless shelter. So I was like kind of like this security role in this homeless shelter where I'd kind of like sit in this locked room with CCTV. I made £9 an hour, and my shift started at midnight. So imagine at 11:30 p.m., like usually when you're asleep, I was putting on my clothes. I'd get a ride over to this shelter, which was like just this fucking house basically. And I'd work from midnight to 8 a.m. And I'd also sometimes do a double shift. So I'd work 16 hours from midnight to 4 p.m. So just imagine that for a fucking second. That's tough, right? And during this time, I would take my laptop and try and work on businesses like dropshipping and eBay and YouTube and all these things. And I would watch videos about business during this time. And I used to see, you know, the sort of business entrepreneur YouTubers who say, yeah, I made loads of money. And I used to see them, imagine I'm working like fucking £9 an hour in a homeless shelter trying to make businesses. And I saw like Iman Gaji talking about how much money he makes and he's younger than me. And it used to piss me off because I was like, yeah, all these people, they're all fucking liars. No one's making that much money. And I understand how you feel. I don't know if you trust me or not, but I give you my fucking word. Most of those guys, at least some of those guys, are not lying. You know, like Iman Gaji and stuff. These guys who say that, oh, they make $1 million, they've made $50 million, bro. I promise you it's actually legit. Like, I genuinely made over $1 million in profit last year in 2024. I made over $1 million in profit in 2023 as well. I didn't start with any handout. I wasn't even good at this business to begin with. I started this business in 2020, and in 2023 was the year I made $1 million profit. Just think, like, and I promise you, I didn't get any like weird, like, no one, you know, sent me subscribers or anything. I never like had rich family or anything like that. It's actually legit. Now, of course, most people who try these businesses don't succeed, but some people like to say that and say, yeah, but you know, it's not guaranteed. But I was like, but neither is your success in the slow lane anyway. Most people who get a career just end up poor and depressed and sleep deprived for the rest of their life anyway. If you're a low performer, whether in business or in career, your life is going to suck anyway. But if you're a high performer in business, it's not difficult to get up to $1 million a year profit within a few years from now. If you're a high performer in your career, you might make 50K a year, maybe 75K a year. If you've already got a master's degree in fucking neurosurgery or something, okay, 200K a year. Nice. That's still pretty fucking awesome, right? But it's not as much as you can make in business without the degree and with skills you can learn online. So just all that to say, if you want to get rich in your 20s and 30s and you want to get into the top 1% of men in terms of your work, it's going to be business. Then we can break this down and say, well, what business, right? Because we can do drop shipping. We can manage OnlyFans models. We can do crypto trading and fucking NFTs. And if you've got no fucking soul and no values, then these options you'll be thinking, oh, wow, you can make money from them. And to that, I say, get fucked. Stop being a fucking soulless little dirty little smelly businessman doing these weird fucking models. What I would suggest for you is just do the exact same business model that I'm doing, which is what I call educational content creator. Basically, you make educational content like I'm doing right now, where I'm giving you this guide on how to become a top 1% man. And then I sell online products that are kind of related to it. Like, for example, the Library of Adonis, where I've got more programs on basically how to become a top 1% man. Like, we've got like a guide on how to improve your health and work. And then we've got like other influencers who have made programs that you get access to. And I sell this for like, you know, a couple $100. You can just go check the price and stuff. And then this way, it's like, I post videos for free on YouTube. You get value from it. Some people who really like these videos, they see the link below and they say, oh, this guy's got a paid program. His free stuff's already been pretty helpful. Yeah, fuck it. Like, I kind of feel like I owe him. I'll buy his paid program and see if it's good too. And when you have a lot of people buy the paid program, you make a lot of fucking money. So that's the business model, and why I love this as well. I'm biased, of course, because this is the model I do. The reason why I love this business model is because it's very purposeful. I don't spend time doing weird bullshit like trying to, you know, like drop shipping. You're making this weird website. You're trying to find the winning product or something. That doesn't help people. Do you know what I mean? Like doing this bullshit where you're just promoting consumerism and materialism. This, to me, this is educational. Think about it. You didn't pay anything to watch this video. I just spilled some fucking good knowledge in here, right? I spent an hour thinking of the ideas. You can hear my throat fucking hurts. It's been a bit of a fucking work session for me. And I've gave you all this for free. Like, you, even if you don't buy my product, me and you can handshake with a sense of like, this just helped you for free. And if you don't buy my product, the thing is, by you watching this far, you've boosted the algorithm, which means that this video will be shown to someone who actually buys my product. So you indirectly are helping my business for free. So do you see how we get this mutual handshake where like I help you for free, and by you watching, the video gets boosted and someone who is likely to buy this will buy this. So I get paid, you get help for free, and we both, all three of us win. It's like how fucking beautiful of a business model that is, where like my work time is basically teaching people knowledge. And it's not in some like stupid area where, you know, I'm not just doing this for money because I've chose a specific like niche like this, you know, the topic of self-improvement, which I feel a lot for. I want men to be on self-improvement. So do you see how it's like, it's fulfilling for me, it's purposeful. I walk around and I swear to God, every single day, about 3 to 10 guys come up to me saying, oh, Hamza, like, oh, I used to watch your videos. Like, it was very important for me. You got me into the gym, you got me this. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. I just post these videos. This is my business. Like, I would do this shit for free. Like, jokes on you motherfuckers who are like giving me money. I'd do this shit for free. Like, I was doing this shit for fun like years ago, and now I make like $1 million a year from it. Do you see how this is, in my opinion, the single best business model possibly you could ever consider? And I actually have a business channel if you're interested in this specific model, and also just random business advice and money advice. It's called Hamza Advanced. I'll probably forget to put it in the description, but you can just go YouTube it, Hamza Advanced, and I talk a lot more about business there. But all that to say, you need a vehicle which is going to make you rich in your 20s and 30s, which in my opinion is business. And if you're going to get into all the different kinds of businesses, I very much recommend that you do this one. The reason why I'm telling you this, by the way, because everyone else online is going to tell you to do some random business model where they're going to try and sell you like a program to do that one. What they're not telling you is every single business model that anyone online is suggesting you to do is worse than the one that I'm telling you to do. You know why? This is the business model I'm actually doing. The business model, when you see these people on YouTube and they're like, oh, you should do agency and drop shipping. The real business model they're doing is being an educational content creator. I'm like the only guy on like in the sort of internet space who tells you, well, the only good business that I personally know of is this one. So you may as well just do the same business model as me, even if you're going to add to the competition. It's like, I actually want to tell you the truth. I don't have some fucking like drop shipping thing that I'm going to try and convince you is better. I'm just going to tell you the truth, which is like, yeah, this is the best business model. That's why I'm doing it. If anyone tells you to do something they're not doing, it's like, that's a bit fraudulent, isn't it? The reason why is because they don't want to drive more competition. I don't give a fuck. It's like, bro, you're part of my fucking boys. If you create a YouTube channel and you make 5,000 subscribers and you start making money, I don't know, selling like some fitness program, it's like, good on you. In the future, you'll be thinking back to, oh yeah, Hamza convinced me, that was pretty awesome. Like, it's still a win-win. And no matter what vehicle you choose, whether it's a career or business, and whatever business model you choose, you need to become a top performer inside of it. That this is the crucial point. You know, when a lot of people say like, oh, but business is risky. Business is risky. A lot of businesses fail. Yeah, but motherfucker, a lot of people fail in their careers as well. What separates the winners, whatever path you choose, whether you want to become a singer, or you want to become a bricklayer, or a garbage man, or you want to get into the military, or you want to get into business, it doesn't matter. Whatever field it is, you need to become one of the best people in that field. It's not just the vehicle that's going to make you rich or poor, it's whether you're shit at it. So yeah, I see comments of people saying like, oh, but Hamza recommends business, but it's too risky because there's loads of people whose businesses fail. And I'm like, yeah, well, like, if you're fucking shit at what you do, then yeah, you're gonna be a failure, just like you were if you get into being a career as well. That's like saying like, oh, he recommends getting a degree, but if you're not good at studying, then you won't really get a good degree. It's like, well, yeah, dumbass, so be fucking good at it then. Whatever you fucking choose, whatever model you're choosing, whatever vehicle you're choosing, become a top performer in it. That's a big part of this journey of like you becoming a top 1% man. Figure out the productivity tactics that work for you. Wake up and don't eat anything. For example, it's 9:56 a.m. I woke up at 6 today. I've been recording for the last few hours. I've ate nothing. I skip breakfast on the days where I'm recording because it helps me to be more productive. That's like a very specific tactic. I know that I can basically get more quality work done because of that. The way that you sleep, the mindset you have, how dedicated you are into learning about your field, those are all the things that will correlate to your success in it. So don't listen to anyone's bullshit who tells you, oh, it's really hard to get success in that field. No. Every fucking way to make money is hard. Every way to make money hard. Don't you fucking ever fall for any of these lies where someone says like, that business model's easier, that one's really hard, business is really hard, no, this is really hard, this is easy. No. If you suck, you're not going to make much money in anything you do. But if you're going to be good at it and you have the traits of success, like for example, showing up regularly, acting like a professional, constantly wanting to get better, like Kaizen, that Japanese philosophy of like 1% better. If you've got those kinds of traits and you become a high performer in the field, no matter what field it is, you can make pretty fucking good money from it. And the thing is, if you've got those general traits of success of being a high performer, you may as well just go into fucking business then, because you've got the traits of success. Why use that in a career that you might be able to get to 45k a year when you can get to 45k a month in business instead? Along with this, it's like cut out the distractions, right? You want to get into the top 1% of men, and we said work is going to be so important. Start working like a top performer. Cut out the distractions. Don't randomly check your phone. Turn off the notifications. These are the kinds of things you can do that will take you to the next level. Go on your phone right now. Disable the notifications. Put it on silent. My phone has been on Do Not Disturb for like 4 or 5 years straight. And I guarantee that's a pretty big reason why I've become successful in only a few years, because I can work with complete and utter focus. And that's what helps me to beat a little bit more of the competition. A little bit more. I sleep well. I fast when I eat. A little bit more. And when you become a top performer in the field, that's when you can make a fuck ton of money. Without that, bro, of course you're going to struggle in business or in career or anything. Don't listen to these fucking lazy motherfuckers who will tell you, no, business is risky, there's loads of people who fail, or this career is risky, whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. It's like become a top performer in whatever field you choose and you'll have a pretty good life. So those were the 3 ways that you can become a top 1% man. Click and watch this video to learn more. Goodbye.